Здравствуйте, меня зовут Сунлоджи, и перед началом я хотел бы поговорить немного. Когда я первый раз пришел на урок, я не знал, как мы проводим курс, и не знал, где мы регистрировать, то есть не знал, я доказать, где доказать я присутствовал. Поэтому надеюсь, что вы понимаете. И я буду читать книгу Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Mr. Utterson, the lawyer, was a quite serious man. He was shy with strangers and afraid of showing his feelings. Among friends, however, his eyes shone with kindness and goodness, and although this goodness never found its way into his conversation, it showed itself in his way of life. He didn't allow himself many enjoyable things in life. He ate and drank simply, and although he enjoyed the theater, he had not been to play for 20 years. However, he was gentler toward other men's weaknesses and was always ready to help rather than blame them. As a lawyer, he was often the last good person that evildoers met on their way to prison, or worse. These people often carried with them memories of his politeness or of his politeness and fairness. Mr. Utterson's best friend was a distant cousin called Richard Enfield, who was well known as a fun-loving man about town. Nobody could understand why they were friends, as they were different from each other in every way. They often took long walks together. However, marching through the streets of London in companionable silence. One of these walks used to take them down a narrow side street in a busy part of London. It was a clean, busy, friendly street with bright little shops and shiny dock knockers. Near the end of the street, however, stood a dark, mysterious, windowless building. The door had neither bell for knocker and looked dusty and uncared for. Dirty children played fearlessly on the doorstep, and nobody ever opened the door to drive them away. One day, as Mr. Enfield and his friend passed the building, Mr. Enfield pointed to it. "Have you ever noticed that place?" he asked. It reminded me of a very strange story." "Really?" said Mr. Utterson. "Tell me." "Well," began Enfield, "I was coming home about 3 o'clock on a black winter morning, when suddenly I saw two people. The first was a short man who was walking along the street, and the second was a little girl who was running as fast as she could. Well, the two bumped into each other and the child fell down. Then a terrible thing happened. The man calmly walked all over the child's body with his heavy boots and left her screaming on the ground. It was an inhuman thing to do. I ran after the man, caught him, and fetched him back. There was already a small crowd around the screaming child. The man was perfectly cool, but he gave me a very evil look, which made me feel sick my stomach. The child's family then arrived and also a doctor. The child had been sent to fetch the doctor for a sick neighbor and was on her way home again. The child is more frightened than hurt, said the doctor. And that, you would think, was the end of the story. But you see, I had taken a violent dislike to the short man, so had the child's family. That was only natural, but the doctor, who seemed a quite kindly man, was also looking at our prisoner with murder in his eyes. The doctor and I understood each other perfectly. Together we shouted at the man and told him we would tell this story all over London, so that his name would be hated. He, he looked back at us with a proud black look. Name your price, he said. We made his agree to £100 for the child's family. With another black look, the man led us to that door over there. He took out a key and let himself into the building. Presently, he came out and handed us £10 in gold and a cheque for £19 from Coutts Bank. The name of the cheque was a well-known one.